Living without regrets is not only a powerful decision, it's a lifestyle. And I decided to commit to that.
Welcome to the Unstoppables. This is the place, the station, where we change those intentions, those ideas, those wishes and dreams into dollars. Now, how do we do that? We invite the very best established guests, people with substance, people that have done things. Well, my guest today has both substance, and she's done a whole lot of things, really, really big things, but she also has great style. Carolyn Cole, welcome back to the Unstoppables.
Welcome. Honored, thrilled to be here.
You were such a great guest. I think you were one of the best, maybe the best. And it's probably going to alienate the other 350 people. But you were fantastic. And
putting right back to you. Amazing.
Well, you know, Carol, I think that like seeks like, and there's an appreciation, I think, that we gain from people who have similar interests, similar drives, who have done things that maybe are a little bit outside of what the world would call a box. You're one of those people. You see, what you have done and what you continue to do is to reinvent yourself. You underwent a major, by choice, volition. You raised your hand and said, you know, I ain't doing this anymore. I'm tired of doing what I did. You were a top trial attorney for Fortune 200 and Fortune 100 companies. You were a senior company trial attorney in the big time, in the upper echelon of the Fortune 500. And you said, you know what, the money ain't worth it. Stress ain't worth it. Yeah, I'm having fun. I care about people, but there might be a better way. So with that, why don't you take us from 30,000 feet, how you started, and most important, why?
Here's what I wanted. I wanted to live before I died, and I climbed all the mountains I was going to climb in litigation. And everybody has so much within them, including me, including you, and everybody there in the room with you, your fantastic team. It's insane to think you're only supposed to do one thing on this earth for your entire lifetime if you feel the call to do other things. Now, some people may have a passion for a musical instrument and it drives them forever. They're in love with that. That's the anomaly. That's the rarity. And it speaks to their genius about honing in on one thing. And chances are they do other things too. They may paint, they may cook, they do other things. But for the most of humanity, it's insane to think you're only supposed to have one career, one anything. Why? That is a complete myth, right? And then what we try to do is one thing forever and try to build in those other pieces of our life around that one thing to get that satisfaction. But these days, when you're doing that one career, that one thing, it's commanding all of your time. For the most part, it just is. And when it commands all your time, it doesn't give you the freedom to live on the other points of your star. And the old Jewish saying is, he or she who lives on 5 points of a star has the richest life. I wanted to live on all points of a star, and that's why I did what I did.
Do you know how many, I don't know if this is a word, but I'm going to make it up in my own dictionary, how many tweetable little lines are in what you just said? That is so pithy, what you did. That is so... live before you die is one. And Absolutely. Then a really salient point you're making is this point, that when you focus so much on one thing, you really try to supplement or augment or maybe address the deficiencies in other areas by trying to plug that in around that one thing. And you know, the one thing is for some people, and it's been the myth we've bought overall, but it ain't for all of us. The rebels, you know, the mavericks, the outcasts, the Wooditches, the Coles, we do it a little different. So you climb the litigation hills, and I got to believe in talking with you, especially from our first show, that there is something more in you than just the paper chase of law, that there had to be something in you that burned for the game, that wanted to do things for people, that wanted to do things the right way, that found a way to do it the right way and became extremely successful at doing it. What do you think made you different than most people who did what you did in corporate America as a top trial attorney for Fortune 500 companies?
Highly creative. And I think you suffer the same ailment, so does your team. You are a highly creative individual, which I argue everyone is. It just gets lost, it gets suppressed, whatever. The highly creative nature of you, when you really, really bring it all out, it brings you to healing and teaching, which is our purpose on the planet, to help others in whatever way we do that.
Healing and teaching. Healing and teaching.
That's our whole.
Good
People say it's love, and through love, it's really about healing and teaching. And, you know, great teachers, great healers, and some would say healing and teaching are synonymous. I'm on board with that if that's how you want to do that. I tend to separate them out a bit, but they're very close to each other. But that if you're highly, highly, highly creative, you're going to be reaching others. I don't care if it's a great musical score, you're making people's hearts sing. If it's a great piece of art, you are. A great piece of written word, great business strategies, right? So people can go develop their businesses, have money, and then pour that money into causes that matter to them. Taking that money and committing that to hospital research, to cancer research, whatever it is you're going to do. When you engage in the highly creative, other people play a role in that. And when you're highly creative, the byproduct of that is you're going to bring joy and the healing and teaching in some way to someone. And that's why we're here, to leave the world a better place, period.
Clarity of purpose right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to drop back on something because my book is on failure.
Yes.
Which I am a student of, a practitioner of to this day. Continual failure. Fail more. Fear.
Phil, you say that. You're very, very humble. But if everybody could fail like you, the world would be a better place. Trust me. If you could fail like you, the world would be a better place.
Kelsey thank you, but Kelsey has...
Make failure look amazing, all right?
Kelsey has all my failures in a diary. Boy, they're trust me, it's like that thick.
We love Kelsey. Yeah.
You know, when I jumped out and started, there was a tremendous amount of fear. There was uncertainty to a degree, but there was that fear of uncertainty. And I was risking all because I had a job at a Fortune 500 company that I did pretty well with. And I was going to do something on my own. And I didn't know how that was going to fare. So tell me, what inside of you, what really burned? What was the defining moment that caused you to launch out? And what fears did you have, perhaps of failure? And if so, what type of failure when you launched?
I was almost really too stupid to have fears, honestly. And that turned out to be not a very
No one's ever going to confuse you with that word. Trust me.
Well, it turned out to be not a great thing, because here's why. In my roles, I had worked incredibly hard, and the equation was, when you work insanely hard, you will progress. You are guaranteed success. Maybe it's not your idea of success, but success on some scale. It might be other people's, the corporation scale, whatever it is. So I was used to applying the work and the return will come. Entrepreneurship and having your own business is a bit different. If you are working your guts out, but it's on the wrong things, you will not see a return, right? If you're working on the right things, you will see a return. So my defining moment, to answer your question, was, and it had been building, and I had thought about leaving, and then I didn't, and I did at one point, and then I came back, and my health broke in my late 30s, and that was the defining moment. Do I jump now for my big dream that I want? Because I had it a long time. That's what is important for people to understand. I had it, and then I had to make a decision. Do I stay in corporate, because I've got great jobs, and the promotions came when I went back. I did stay with corporate. Or do I leap out now and risk my health again, or risk watching what happens with that and maybe be a burden to others? So I did the conservative thing, which I think a lot of people do. So I have full compassion for understanding that. And then I went back in, but I never abandoned my dream. And I thought about how I'm going to execute on it. One of the defining moments around that was my father fell ill, and he was a judge, all right? And he had really devoted his life to the practice of law and the career and all of that. Everything was career, elections, politician, the whole bit. And I saw in his eyes at the end, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going out like that. So that was one moment that was up close, because I'm like, you know what? I really need to live every piece of my life that I want to live before I go. Because number one, and we talked about this last time, and I want to bring it up again, living without regrets is not only a powerful decision, it's a lifestyle. And I decided to commit to that, because here's the thing, and I talk about this in something I'm releasing soon. It's the net of regret And what I have people do is you net your future regrets. Like right now, what are you already regretting for your future? So that's how was my defining moment when I figured that out. And I started, Bill, just staying still and saying, what am I already regretting about my future? Well, I'm regretting that I've never had my own show. I'm regretting that I've never had my own business. I'm regretting already that I never unleashed all of my creativity with writing, maybe with producing documentaries, whatever it is I was going to do with having my own business. I'm already regretting the end of my life now. I can see it. I can feel it. That's when I said, no future regrets. Let's do this. Because the bottom line is, at some point, you have to realize to be happy is so much better than settling and being stuck and knowing you're going to have future regrets. And I made that choice. And it was I guess in hindsight, incredibly brave choice now. And I did say when I left it, is this arrogance? When I leave this top of the hill position, I had much more runway to go, many more promotions that would come. Is it arrogance to leave something when I leave? I know there's going to be hundreds of applications through the door for my position. Is that arrogance? And it's not. It's simply living.
I think it was confidence, because I always say ego with talent is perceived as confidence. Ego without talent, that's arrogance. That's the Greek word hubris. And I think that's where we went down that slippery slide last time. I love the net of regret. Mm-hmm. And I would play that forward. And I think of it this way, and I share this in my talks. Think about where you're going to be if you're blessed to live into 95, 100, 110, and you're on a park bench of regret. And you think back and you deeply regret those things that you are powerless, one of those terrible words in the language, to be powerless to change or do anything that you could do right now. You can't do it. And all you have is regret. Regret's one of the biggest motivators I have in my life. I don't want to feel that future regret. Don't want to feel it. Do it now. Right. You jumped from it seemed to be as much security as we can call security in a world that is insecure and a place that there really is no security. But you jumped from security and you used your father as an object lesson. You were able to extrapolate, this is not for me. I think that's a great point for people to own. The net of regret, the object lesson, you played it forward. You were very much in touch with who you were. So I think we talked about this last time, that you have to know, to thine own self be true. Know thyself, Socrates, and then to thine own self be true. And so knowing yourself, how much, and it's still a process. What did you do to really know this is not for me, but inside I'm going to make this jump and do something different? What's that inside, Carolyn, when you said it's time to reinvent?
I think it's the highly creative piece again. I think that I really value that over so much that's trained into us that other people find valuable. I think creativity is our freedom. Oh. I think that's our freedom. And the more creative you are, and the more you create opportunities to be creative and the space to be creative, you are free. And I'm going to also bring in my mother here. I'm very close to her, okay? And she said to me, Carolyn, she said, and she's a very conservative thinker, a very practical thinker, right? She calls it as she sees it. And she's like, you have got to fulfill your dreams. You've got to go for this. It doesn't matter really what happens. And that's the truth at the end of it. I interviewed on my show Judy Robinette. She's arguably the top power connector in the world. And she got into financial trouble with a restaurant with some partners when she first made the leap out of corporate. And now she's amazing. I mean, she's on top of the world now. And she went to go see a finance person, like, how do we get out of this? And they got out of it, and they got out of it in good order. But he said, you're not dead and no one's going to eat you. And I've been thinking about that. Isn't it true? Because right now, if all of this doesn't work out, oh well. But guess what? I still have the remnants of Rome, don't I? I still have pillars of the things I've built. I've got a Colosseum that's not filled, and it's older and it's a little bit shaky, but I still built that. And those lessons never go to waste. You will find that when you exercise your highest creativity, you're going to land on your feet no matter what. I promise you 100%. It may not be the way you designed it initially. It may be not what you saw initially, but in a way that makes you happy. Because when you focus on your happiness with success and your creativity and focus on being happy, make it important to you and focus on success as you see it, you will land on your feet. You're You're going to have failure. You're going to have lessons, but you will land if you honor who you truly are. You are more than able. You're more than capable. And I think those are the greatest things that I've learned. It's just, I'm very self-reliant. And you have to be that. But creativity has really saved me. It's helped me. It's made my life worth living.
Let's talk about creativity. What are some of the limits? By the way, I love Remnants of Rome. My mind is going down into the catacombs right now, but Remnants of, I'm thinking one day you could sell a lot. You might not be here, but sell a lot for tourists to go by the Coliseum, take pictures, right? So what are some of the limits to creativity? People out there want to be creative. The audience, there's people that want to do it. What limits people overall?
It's just the training and the lack of emphasis on it, because Bill, you and I both know this. The most successful business people in the world, the most successful innovators, the most successful originals, the titans of science, of manufacturing, of medicine, of law, of writings, the Nobels, they are creative. They are massive thinkers. If you want real success, real happiness, the real deal in life, dial into your creativity. There's no limit to it. And what limits us is the training away from it, because we are literally trained in school and keep going in society and some corporate cultures. It is the drone syndrome. You know, you are to be a cog in the wheel. You're to be a very effective bee in the hive doing your work. You're not supposed to figure out how to build a better hive. You're not supposed to figure out what we do for a happy hour as a bee. You're not supposed to figure out those things. You're simply given your tasks. And the efficiency around that, you know, back to World War I and II, when we had to manufacture and do, manufacturing took off, and it gave shelter to people and it put people in a comfortable position. And that comfort also challenges our creativity, doesn't it? Because they call it the comfort zone settling, but that challenges our creativity, because I think it was Wilson, or was one of the presidents, who said, listen, it's not a question of what you want to do, it's what you're willing to do to make it happen. Yes. Right? And the creativity part is the part we leave behind, because we can't see it readily translate into something concrete, whereas a job promotion, we see it, right? Doing this busy work, we see it. But when we exercise our true creativity and realize we're special enough, and don't parade your dreams out in front of everybody to be criticized so you shut down again. Keep it secret for a while if that's what it's going to take, because every time you blossom, people smack you down. Go create, even if it's something really small. I don't care if it's a crayon drawing. Right. Watch how you feel immediately after that. You suddenly start feeling more hopeful, and the more hopeful you feel, the more possibilities come to you, and the more possibilities you see to pursue.
I don't want to lose a big point. The big point in there is that people may smack you down, because I think a lot of people are in fear of letting that creativity flourish, to even spark the creativity in front of others, because they will feel less than if someone else knocks that idea down, the concept down. And you have that tremendous confidence. You're I don't care, I'm going for it, I believe in myself. But there's a lot of that shame factor that holds people back, I believe. What do you think about that?
I love that comment. Well, part of mine will come from the fact I was a courtroom trial attorney for 2 decades. You talk about getting smacked around early and learning how to get in there like a gladiator. You had to, right? So it's people can say whatever they want to me, and I'm in a different situation, because literally that was a battle zone. There's nothing fun about litigation. That was a battle zone for 20 years. But I will say this, that when people smack you down, number one, consider the source. Right? Consider the source of the person, because, and I love this, that, you know, you don't go get marriage advice from somebody who's had 5 divorces. You don't go get financial.
About someone who's never been married.
Somebody who's never been married. There you go. You don't get Bill, funny. You don't get financial advice from somebody who's broke. You don't get business advice from somebody who's not in business, right? So with the smackdown thing, remember that part of that is, and it doesn't matter. We can put all the labels on why people smack you down, jealousy, whatever it is. The shame piece that you mentioned is huge. And I wrote a piece on this called Shame Bells, where especially for women, when women step into a role of confidence, publicly speaking, publicly successful, you know, and they're unabashed about it, they're unapologetic, and they're good souls, the women will ring the shame bells at them, because their ancestral DNA tells them women aren't supposed to shine. Women are supposed to help. They're not to be out front. Women talking about success and ambition, that's what guys do. Who does she think she is? Yeah. And the shame bells come out ringing, right? And we have to get rid of those shame bells. And the biggest part about growing up and accepting your fate and taking responsibility for your life and creating your dream life, your dream career, your dream business, whatever it is saying, you know what? Reality is, it is a tough world. We've made it very comfortable, but it is a tough place when you step into something new. But all of your skills will make that disappear once you're in it. The biggest tough game is getting out of your head and understanding you can go forward with it. Ignore the shame bells, ignore the naysayers. Always consider the source. Who's criticizing you? Are you kidding me?
I always think
prize is coming after you. I'd pay attention. Absent that, no.
The critics are the well-intended. Sometimes they really want to help you out.
I don't know about that.
Well, then there's the misinformed and the misguided, and sometimes they're all three one and the same. Sometimes they're all one and the same. Well, don't ever overlook human jealousy as one of the
without question.
That's one of the big things. We could go on forever talking about, and I love your metaphors about the regret net, the shame bells. You're teaching me some creative metaphors. Tell me what you do now. So you made the jump, and then you now do. Tell me about it.
The jump now is Boomtank is my company, boomtank.com. And Boomtank is about where success and happiness meet. And it can be business success, career success, life success, your personal success, but it's where success and happiness meet, because you and I both know this drill. You can have tons of success, but if your happiness is missing, it doesn't mean anything. And I really mean that. It doesn't mean anything. And the happier you are going to be so much more energized and productive and helpful no matter what the arena is where you're focused on. It can be, at your workplace, it can be in your personal life, it can be in your social life, whatever it is, your business. So it's where success and happiness meet. And that's what I teach people to do. And I teach it through reinvention. And you can use all different kinds of words, redesign, whatever it is, but it's reinvention. It's reinvention around your life, your business and career, so that success and happiness meet. Period. Because the thing is that you've got to be happy before you die. Do not leave this planet unhappy. That is such a waste. You have been given everything at your disposal. Just look outside your window at the magical things that you see that are man-made and that come from nature. This is all crazy, amazing stuff, and it's put here for you. Do not think you cannot be happy. Do not think you cannot be successful and happy. Do not live in misery. That is crazy. Do not live a life of regret. Totally avoidable. So I teach people how to step out of that, teams and companies too.
And if I'm listening to, and I'm listening carefully to you, regret, get out that net of regret, the shame bells, and really be creative. Put yourself out there in a creative space, because it's important, and you say this, for business and success and happiness to be in alignment, or you're just wasting time and energy.
Yes. The other thing, and I'm curious to get your thought on this, right? And this is the big concept behind the work of Boomtank. And also, it's your work too. It's living your true life. And I argue, when you are in your total creativity, exercising your gifts, and you know what they are, okay? You know what they are, that you are living your true life. And it's really interesting, because I've asked some people who are much older than me, because I wanted their perspective on it. And these are people that are really plugged in and hooked in, and they've had a great life, right? I'm like, do you think that most people live their true life, really who they are? Each one of them paused, looked at me and said, no. I said, you're kidding. I was floored by that, just because for a bunch of different reasons. I mean, where you sit, Bill, what do you think? Do you think
I think people live shadow lives. I think people live shadow lives. I think they live marginal lives, and I think they live their life for others almost exclusively, to the point where they are impoverished in their own soul, and they have a bankruptcy of happiness because they've never chosen to fill their own bank of happiness. So I think, that's the
bankruptcy of happiness. We just got another massive tweetable. Oh, Bill, that's a great one. That's awesome.
Well, I want to say hello to all the Instagram followers, because we're blowing up out there thanks to you. So hello, everybody. Kelsey made me wear the blue suit. She told me not to shave. So sorry, Carolyn. I try. You got perfect hair, by the way. Again,
you are all GQ. You are something else.
No.
We're going to be on a catwalk soon across the water. I know.
No. But I really do. I think that the shadow, the people, they live shadow lives. They're in fear of living their own life. And there's, to me, if they're not in alignment with your true self and what you express to the outer world, there's a fracture, and that fracture creates a dissonance, and that's where unhappiness seeps in those cracks. I mean, I coach that as well as you do. I think you and I are the voices out there. We're the sirens, perhaps don't want anybody crashing on our rocks, but I think we're the voice of clarity, maybe the clarion call to people to champion their own cause. Learn who you are like you did. Be creative. Get rid of that regret. Forget about shame. Learn that that's just part of the game of growth. Get out of your own head and go. You got so much good stuff. I don't want to let you go.
And part of it is just hearing somebody else is doing it and having permission and knowing that's out there, which your show is doing, which is amazing. And let's catalog this, Bill, about where you leapt off and you became something else in me. Let me just catalog what? Okay, 2-decade trial attorney. I also have a master's in organizational development, so I can work with companies, right? So, and I have a bunch of other paper too. But here's the deal. 3 years ago, I didn't have a podcast. I didn't have a microphone. Now I do that, and I do all of my own production. I didn't live stream at all. Didn't know where to begin with that. I had 3 live stream shows this summer. I'm now a global business consultant. I'm a speaker. I just did a TEDx talk, and I had 2 other speaking engagements this summer. Big thank you. 2 other big speaking things this summer, though I did speak before. Okay. I do other things, right? And I do the whole personal development piece with the reinvention. All of this in a span of 3 years, from being creative and saying, this is how I'm going to build my life, to things that I truly am passionate about doing and doing it. Look at you, Bill. Here you are right now. You are broadcasting on Instagram. All right. You have put the 2nd major book out for your label, the 2nd major book out. You are shaping lives. You're speaking, you're talking. Look at your reinvention, right? How amazing is that? So this stuff is very real. It's not just talk. It's actually living it. So I hope that is an inspiration. I know your show is inspiring people, but just hearing you can live your life and your true life. You don't have to waste it. You don't need the net of regret. You don't have to have a bankruptcy of unhappiness, is what exactly a bankruptcy of happiness, which is exactly what you said. These are all brilliant points, and they're very real. This is not just talk. It's real.
You have an energy and enthusiasm that's real. I wish I had your energy. I used to have it until the 2nd book beat it out of me. But
oh my gosh, that's giving birth to a book.
It is giving birth. And I think Churchill had something to say about that, where he said that you're creating this thing, and all of a sudden at the end of time, it's like you just want to fling the monster out into the masses, because it's like, oh my God, it's like 9 months, my Lord. Tell me what you think, and I know you're very humble, but what is if you could just pick one, what would be your unique skill set, or what people would call, it seems in vogue today, a superpower that makes you different?
I'm brave enough just to love, and to love big, and love in a very grounded, earthy way, so that I can reach people. And I think the biggest thing is that when people go on their spiritual and personal development quest, they go up to the top of the mountain and they love the air and the view so much there, they don't want to come down and Sherpa anybody back up. They're too intoxicated by those ethers, right? I'm very, very committed to constantly scaling, going up, learning like you, learning, coming right back down, sherping other people up, taking a good view, getting a respite, coming back down. For the rest of my life, it will be loving and caring like that on many different levels. Whatever your dream is, whatever your passion is, I'm just committed to people living before they die. That's it. To me, that's what life boils down to.
Live before you die. And you're just brave enough to love. And yeah.
And saving as many people as we possibly can from these mediocre, settling lives of unhappiness, because they've been trained there's nothing more. Because the reality is, the bigger the army of people who really care, bring their real superpowers, as you say, to bear, are creative and are willing to love and get out there and teach and heal and care, our world becomes a better place. We make it better for other people. There is no more noble and ambition than that. There's no more greater call to living a full life than that. There's just not.
The viewers may think that I shared the questions with you. I didn't.
No. I have no idea what's coming out of your head. And it's always brilliant. So I love being here.
Neither do I until it's out there, okay? Awesome. I got to try to unwind it a little bit. Carolyn, you have a new course, Life Redesign, where business and professional success meet happiness.
Yes.
What's this course going to give me?
This course is going to help you reinvent whatever it is you want to reinvent. And it's a 12-week program. You can complete it in less, but I will be there every step of the way, actually having the coaching during the week. And it's important that people understand this is something, it's got a so much original content of things that work from the beginning of time until now. It's really about giving people the focus to change what it is they want to change. And it's also a system, once you've been through it, you can do it with others. I always encourage that, but you can repeat this and keep using what you learn to reinvent different pieces of your life forever. Because the reality is, people don't pause to understand, our bodies are reinventing themselves every day. Molecularly, we change every day, we change every year, we regenerate, we lose things. Our body's changing, the world is changing, nature's changing. You will keep changing whether you like it or not every day until you depart. And you might as well take control of that change because you can, and go for success and happiness because you can. And it makes things a lot easier, a lot faster, and a lot more tailored. You can get out and really build something amazing with your life. You can reinvent all of it or a piece of it, whatever it is you wish.
So
and I wish I had something like this when I stepped out of corporate. I didn't. So most times we're our own avatar. I wish I'd had something like this to really help me so I didn't go splat so much, right?
I see Kelsey flying around now with these wings on her. Sorry, avatar. She's blue. I see it. So your course is really a philosophy for life. That inside of that philosophy is real life, granular stuff, a system. Yeah. A system that I can learn from. So it's not just a philosophical approach.
No, every week.
A way.
There's an electronic journal. It's a very pretty journal. It's a workbook you go through. You can always keep. And the thing is that there will be milestones, different graduations throughout. And I really want people to complete the course. And you and I both know people are so busy getting them through 12 weeks. I'm determined to get the vast majority, if not everybody, through to graduation with graduation things and different rewards along the way. But every week you work on a concrete piece of the reinvention. So you're not like eating the elephant all at one time, as Mary Kay says. You're eating I don't want to use that because I love animals. You're not eating the cracker all at one time. You're taking bits and pieces until it's done, it's easily digested, and it's profound, right? And it's profound because it's different, and it really is the first time I think most of these people will ever have paused in their life, really taken themselves seriously, given them the space to be great, because it's about thinking bigger and being great. That's a big piece of it, and really, really turning into that butterfly that you are. It just is, and I hate to use that term butterfly because it's like an iron butterfly. You're going to come out so much stronger and better and confident and vibrant, beautiful. Ready to take on the planet.
I'm just stuck on that metaphor again. And this time I'm trying to think of a butterfly that's iron trying to fly. So you stuck me on there. It could be the Hindenburg butterfly, but it will try to fly, right?
I don't know about that. No, it's just you're going to, and for people who wrestle with the confidence to be themselves, come. All right. For the people who have a creative outlet and they're like, gee, I've always wanted to. Let me tell you something, and Les Brown, you've heard his quote. He says the graveyards are full of people, woulda, shoulda, couldas, right? The greatest works of art, poetry, music, all because people gave up on their dream, gave up on themselves. That's ridiculous. You are here to live. You're not here to do anything else but to live. So why not accept that assignment and start really living? Period.
No, that's actually a great Les Brown piece where he talks about the dreams of the things you didn't do, that they surround your deathbed and they ask you, why didn't you do something with me? And you take those dreams to the grave with you. Right. Because the graveyards are full of people that have never lived and cashed their dreams. You reinvent yourself. You are creative and you espouse and you embrace that creativity as a way forward. Would love your line that you got to live before you die. And boy, there's a lot in there. Not just exist, but you got to live before you die. And the net of regret, no regrets, play it forward. Beautiful. You are a tremendous guest. You are a wealth of knowledge for me. I'm going to play this back, and there is so much good stuff in here. I mean, really good, applicable life stuff. One last question for you. One last question. What do you say to those people, and there have to be those people, because they line up for me as well. They say, oh, it's easy for you. It's in your DNA. It's just something you do, but we can't do that. So what do you tell those people, which are probably some of the people you have to coach?
I would be so compassionate with them and say, I understand that, because when I've reinvented myself a few times, by the way, not just this latest one. And the thing is that when I start, it's like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to do any of that. And here's the solution to those people who worry. You simply get started. And where people mess up, and I messed up, was I looked at where I absolutely wanted to be, and I wanted to go from here to straight there. You can't. Life is incremental. Education is incremental. Practice is incremental. Success is incremental. Failure is incremental. You have to do it incrementally. Doesn't mean it has to take a long time. It's just you have to accept that you have to start. And the moment you do even one small thing in that direction, it naturally pulls you to step 2 and 3. And now you can start, instead of doing 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, now you can start doing leaps of 3. Once you do that for a while, now you can do leaps of 6. You just have to get started. You can do it. I do believe what Jack Canfield said. If it's in your heart, you have the capacity to do it. Life is not that cruel. It's going to put a dream in your heart you can't achieve in one way or the other. I believe that. You totally can. And the whole thing is, and I'm going to give them a tip. If you say X in your life, whatever it is, I want you to stop and pause and say, be honest with yourself, totally honest. Is that myth? Is that a fiction, or is that real? You will find when you are pushing yourself to change or do or dream or think big or make those changes or really live, you'll say, oh, blah, 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 all these different things. Like you just said, blah, 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 all these things, they come out, all the reasons, right? But when you stop, and if somebody held you accountable and said, sit down, now say it out loud, honest, I'm going to put truth serum in you right now. Is that fiction, or is that real? You know, what is it? Most times it's fiction. So be honest with yourself about what is a fiction, and understand that what you say and what I say, Bill, is true. You can change. You can do things differently. This was not easy. Me learning how to podcast, finding the microphone, hooking all this up, learning all the live stream. That was not easy. But oh, wow, so worth it. And I did it. There was nothing in my legal background. I knew no podcasters. I knew nothing about live streaming. I knew nothing about the social media. We weren't permitted to have social media, or it was discouraged in our profession for safety reasons. I knew nothing about this. But what I did, I learned. And the stuff I learned is not rocket science. It's not like people can say, oh, you're just way too smart for me. No, anybody can pick up this stuff. Right? The real stuff in life is not out here. It's not learning to work this microphone, work these earbuds, work this camera. The real stuff to work for your success and happiness is in here, and it's in here. Okay. Inside, that's the real stuff that's going to propel you to success and happiness. You can get all the equipment you want. You can get all the knowledge you want. But at the end of the day, it's who you are and who you unleash on the world that is going to determine your success and happiness. It's you unleashing. Okay. And you can do that. You are in control of you. So when people say, well, that's beyond me with courage. No, you can unleash you. You ultimately are responsible for you. You can do this. You can. I don't care what your background is. We've had humanity, people who came from absolutely deplorable conditions, and people who came from ivory towers. It doesn't matter. We have success across the spectrum and happiness because those people have two things in common. They unleashed themselves, and they focused on things that made them happy.
And we unleashed the great Carolyn Cole today on the Unstoppables. Thank you so much, my friend. And I do call you my friend for coming back. We need a third. But check out boomtank.com. Yeah, I will. We got to invite me first. Boomtank.com.
Standing invitation, Bill.
Boomtank.com. And don't forget to follow @Bill Wooditch on Instagram and Facebook. Look for more inspiration. Can't promise you're going to get Carolyn Cole. You were fantastic.
God bless you, Bill. You were an absolutely terrific guest. Complete honor to be here. Love you, friend.